2 times for the win. Salute to all the diehards. This is Die Hard Giants Live, and I am your host. I am Jarrell on IG and Twitter. Man, we won another game. Can you believe it? We won another game. The Giants are now 2-3. I'm rolling Dolo tonight. No Steph. It's just me. Salute to everybody that's gonna come in the chat. Salute my guy Dwayne. Hold on, get Dwayne in here. Salute to Dwayne. First one in the chat. Matter of fact, Dwayne, I already said that I was actually going to make Dwayne a mod. Hold on 1 second. Cool. Got Dwayne as mod. Salute to Wonder Woman in the chat. She's always here every week. Salute to everybody, man. It's not going to be a long show. I hope everybody having a wonderful week so far. It's only been 2 days, but try to get you out of here and so you can enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. The Giants actually go in to Seattle against the 12th man and win 29-20. It was a hard game to look at first, man. When the game started, right? I was like, okay. Now, I mean, we in Seattle. Seattle's supposed to be a good team. I looked at their record. Don't get me wrong. They had a good record, but they didn't really beat anybody. Like they beat like Miami without their starting quarterback Tua. I forgot who else they beat. But let's just say that the resume wasn't all that when it came to Seattle. But they did have a good record. Their offense was supposed to be really, really potent. But we'll talk about our defense a little later. But we started off the game driving right down the field, and Eric Gray, again, for the second time this season, fumbled the ball away on the opening drive. First time it was against the Browns, I believe, and he fumbled the opening kickoff. This time he actually was by the goal line. We was about to actually go in for a score. I personally think that he scored and the ball hit the plane, but it was ruled a fumble. They pick it up, scoop it up, run it all the way back for 6. We down 7-0 that quick. And then when we got the ball again, and it was a quick 3 and out. I was like, oh man, here we go. I even tweeted out, I was like, the Giants not serious today. At least the Knicks play at 5:00. After that, I was almost checked out after 2 drives, but we start playing. So let's get into the offense real quick. Daniel Jones, another good game from Daniel Jones. I'm going to talk about Daniel Jones a little bit more in the show a little later at the end, because there is an elephant in the room about him being our starting quarterback after this season. A lot of people actually want to keep him because he is strung together 3 or 4 games in a row. So he's played very, very well. I got the numbers for his last 4 games. The first one you could throw out because we lost really, really badly to the Vikings. But Daniel Jones in the past 4 games have actually looked like a good starting quarterback in the NFL. He's putting up big numbers. And, our offense still isn't scoring a lot in the red zone. But some of that a lot of that isn't his fault. But, the explosive plays down the field could be Daniel Jones' fault because of his arm, but it's all about play design and how Brian Daboll trusts him to throw the ball down the field, because something wasn't connecting, until this game, and it was connecting with Darius Slayton. As you can see, Darius Slayton had 8 receptions for 122 yards and a touchdown. Let's just face it. Malik Neighbors wasn't here. Singletary wasn't there. A lot of people thought, Giants was pretty much dead in the water. So their replacement is Darius Slayton, who is our starting wide receiver, but he becomes the number 1 option in Neighbors' place. And Tyrone Tracy actually took over for Singletary, and he actually might be the starter going forward, I believe. Wonder Woman say she went apple picking on Sunday, but she missed the game and glad we won. Yeah, I can see why a lot of people I know did not watch this game, because a lot of fans that I knew actually expected us to lose. Don't get me wrong, most fans did watch this game because you watch the game whether you win or lose. But depending on what you had going on that day, it was a big sports weekend. Both the Yankees and the Mets are in the playoffs. The Liberty was playing on Sunday. The Giants, of course, and then the Knicks started 5 o'clock, like around in the second quarter. So, a lot of people had a lot of stuff going on. So the Giants game was kind of secondary for a lot of people. So I can see why you did miss that Wonder Woman, but yeah, it was a good game for us. Like I said, Tyrone Tracy, 18 carries for 129 yards and like 7 yards a carry. Can't really beat that. Like a fifth round rookie, first time starting, he gets the ball for the first time and he does that. Might want to keep him in the starting lineup, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, like I said, Daniel Jones played a really good game. It wasn't that many explosive plays down the field again, but he hooked up with Darius Slayton at least twice, and one of them was a touchdown. Still, um, that has to be cleaned up. I like the fact that we got our rookie tight end involved a little bit. Theo Johnson had 5 receptions for almost 50 yards, by 48 yards, at almost 10 yards a catch. So I'm glad. It seemed like we kind of schemed him open a couple of times. You could tell the ball was going to him. And Brian Dable schemed it so Daniel Jones wouldn't have to, try to fit a tight window into Theo Johnson. And it worked out, man. He had 5 receptions. It was really the biggest game of his career so far. And moving forward, he's a big target, man. I hope they like use him in the red zone a little bit more. Theo Johnson's like 6'6", 250 pounds, man. Like he's a big kid that, I think he's a good red zone target that we need to use more. But we'll see how that goes. Eric Gray. See, I think Eric Gray just needs to be like catching the ball out of the backfield. I almost don't want to give him the ball anymore because of the fumbles. That was the second time he fumbled the first drive away. But a couple screen passes he caught coming out of the backfield. It was only 3 of them, but he racked up 50 yards. And one of those was like a long 3rd and 17 that we had. We ended up, keeping the drive alive because of that. And, he worked out when it comes to catching the ball out of the backfield. But when it comes to returning and actually running the ball around the goal line, I will hope we should go in a different direction. Maybe he could keep returning kicks because he doesn't, have to return it that often, because it's kind of rare that kick returners actually bring it out of the end zone. But, around the goal line, Tyrone Tracy needs to get those snaps, or Singletary when he becomes healthy. I don't know if he's going to play next week. I think he missed this game because of a groin injury. So we'll see about that. Wendell Robinson has continued to be Daniel Jones' security blanket, especially on 3rd down. I think he had like 6 catches, but those 6 catches for like under 40 yards. I think he had 6 catches for 35 or 36 yards for only 6 yards a carry. 6 yards a catch, 5 yards a catch. But you could just tell that he's Daniel Jones' security blanket, like check downs and stuff like that. And plus, he scored for us in the red zone. That was our only red zone score. Darius Slayton wasn't in the red zone. I think that was a little further out, so that doesn't count. I think we was 1-4 in the red zone. So our offensive line played awesome. Jermaine Luminor actually tweeted out after the game and said, how about that O-line? Because he knows the narrative with our O-line. We haven't had a good O-line in almost 10 years. And this time, it looked like we might have multiple Pro Bowlers on this line. Like both Jermaine Luminor and Andrew Thomas have been excellent at tackle. Our guards and, our second-year center did a pretty good job so far this year. It's only been 5 games, but as you can see that Daniel Jones has a lot of time in the pocket, man. Daniel Jones, I don't know, it seems like sometimes he can go back there and make a sandwich, man. It is completely different from how this team looked last year. Like last year, Seattle actually came to MetLife and they opened up a can of whoop ass on us, man. Daniel Jones got beat bad. I think he got sacked did he get sacked like 10 times? He had a pick 6 to Witherspoon, who was a rookie at the time last year. Like it was It was a really, really bad game for Daniel Jones and one of his worst games of his career last year against Seattle. This time, almost had 300 yards actually in Seattle. That might be a good thing for Daniel Jones, too, because I've noticed that it seems like he's actually playing better in road games than he does at home. I actually don't think he has a home game touchdown this year, and I don't remember the last time Daniel Jones actually threw a touchdown in MetLife. Like all of his best games have been on the road lately. Even last year against Arizona, the second game of the season after we got blown out, that second half when he was breaking records and running all over the place and throwing it down the field, Daniel Jones, it was in Arizona. It wasn't at home. So most of our home games, for some reason, Daniel Jones kind of checks out. But hopefully, hopefully that'll end soon. And the defense, hold on, let me get the defense in here. The defense actually was smacking Geno Smith around, man. Like, don't get me wrong, like our pass rush rate can be a little better, but I don't know what you can't complain about the sacks that we had. We had 7 sacks. As of right now, the New York Giants lead the NFL in sacks at 22 sacks. And don't get me wrong, I think we had like 8 of them against the Browns and 7 of them yesterday. So most of those sacks came in 2 games, but they all count. So the 22 sacks, we lead the NFL. And it's one of the highest sack totals after 5 games in like the last 15 years for the NFL period. So, when it comes to sacks, the NFL, the New York Giants actually have a historical season so far. Like, don't get me wrong, it's only half of the season hasn't even, gone yet. But we just talk about these 5 games. For what we've seen so far, we got a lot of sacks. Like Dexter Lawrence, 3 sacks on the day, absolute monster in the middle. DJ Davidson chipped in. I don't even think he started, but he came in for who's the rookie for Chapman. I think Chapman started, but DJ Davidson came in and added 2 sacks to the total. Brian Burns added a sack. I think Kayvon and Nacho both like hit Geno Smith at the same time, so I think they shared a sack. So we had a lot of good production from my defensive line. On my linebackers, on the other hand, pretty average games from McFadden and Okereke. They was flying around. Can't say anything bad about them. I actually like our 2 starting linebackers. I like the duo that we have in those 2. Dante Banks actually showed how he can possibly be a number 1 cornerback on this team. He's been getting bullied a lot by number 1 wide receivers this season, but he kind of shut down DK Metcalf, man. Let me see how much DK Metcalf had. Because when we win games, I don't make slides for the losers. Like there will be no offensive and defensive key players for Seattle tonight. So let me see what let me look real quick. Yeah, DK Metcalf only had 4 catches for 55 yards. Like that is, Banks actually doing his job, man. Like he had a very, very excellent game. I think he had like 3 or 4 pass breakups with DK. As you can see, he had 6 tackles. As Tyler Lockett, I think he broke a couple long passes, but for the most part, I think he only had like 4 catches. The main thing that happened with our defense in Seattle, it seemed like they just went away from the run game for some reason. I didn't really get that. Seattle is usually a good running team, and Kenneth Walker, who is one of their starting running back who came back from injury last week, like he's a really, really good running back, and they didn't seem like they used him at all. Like I think they only had like 1 or 2 rushes in the first half alone. But then again, the time of possession, like I have to look up our time of possession. I'll put up the team stats in a little bit, but yeah, our time of possession had to been in the 30s, and it's been like that. When I say 30s, 30 minutes, and I think Seattle probably had been in the 20s or low 20s because it didn't seem like they had the ball that much. Ever since the Washington game, they pretty much had the ball the whole game. Even though we had a shot to win, I think we would have won the game if we actually suited up another kicker. That was the game that Brian Dable kind of not threw away, but we could have won that game if we would have dressed another kicker. But that's in the past. We don't want to talk about that. But ever since that game, we played the Browns, we played the Cowboys, and we played the Seahawks. And I think we won the time of possession in each of those games since that game. So he actually, I like coaches who like see the problem and don't think they're too smart to fix it. Because just last week we was talking about how we couldn't run the ball against Dallas, and what do you know? We go against the Seahawks and we run it all over them. So let me pull up the team stats real quick. Hold on, because I know our defense actually we didn't shut them down by any means, but we did pretty good. Hold on. Here we go. For the total yards, 420 to the 333 for the Seahawks. As you can see, they had 100 yards rushing, but at 5 yards to carry. But a lot of that was Geno Smith, like using his legs. Just with Daniel Jones, because Daniel Jones almost had 40 yards on the ground too. Really tough yards. A couple of those plays, a couple of those runs was on third down. Daniel Jones up there running over people. One of the defenders hit him. Daniel Jones got up. The defender was hurt. He looked down on the ground on him and almost stepped over him like he was Iverson and Tyronn Lue when they was in the finals. Daniel Jones actually played his butt off, man. Like, yeah, 24 first downs. You scroll down a little bit. 24 first downs to their 17. You guys see the third down efficiency. We was way better on third down. Neither team actually neither team did their fourth down correctly. That fourth down, I think, was us on the goal line. That's when Eric Gray fumbled the ball. So total plays, as you can see, 71 to 58. And if you we punt, both teams punted 4 times. The Giants only had 2 penalties. You can't, I don't know, you can't say that's coaching, man. 2 penalties. Both teams lost a fumble, no interceptions. And look at the time of possession. Time of possession was 37 to 22. That's how you win football games, whether it's by the run or the like short passes. A lot of the concepts that we have are short routes that could be substituted as runs, just like the West Coast offense. Like our offense has a lot of the West Coast implemented in it. Salute to Life with Dan. Salute. He said, I think we could beat the Bengals pretty easily. Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm a matter of fact, soon, right after I get done with these team stats, we'll talk about the Bengals. But yeah, we played a hell of a game, man. Like, you can't. What can you say about Tyrone Tracy coming off the bench, 5th round draft pick? Having almost 130 yards on 18 carries. Our number 1 wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, who has been all world for us, he doesn't play, and Darius Slayton step up in a much needed step up game because we was waiting on Darius Slayton to do this. Which almost got me pissed off too, because Darius Slayton had a drop in that first during the first drive. So I was like, here we go again. Like I said, I didn't think the Giants were serious at all that first quarter, but after that, man, it seemed like Seattle wasn't trying to win. And we took it from them, man. Like, it's hard to go into Seattle. Seattle is one of the hardest places to play. Like, they call their stadium and their fans the 12th man for a reason. They have a 12th man flag, waving on one of the flag posts on the stadium. So that should show you that we can actually go into a hostile environment like that and whoop somebody's ass, man. Like that's what football is about. Like, it's kind of rare that we go into situations like that and win the game. We haven't been like that in the past couple of years, but Daniel Jones actually looked like 2022 Daniel Jones when we went to the playoffs. But we'll see. Dwayne said we gotta keep an eye on Chase. Oh yes, like talk about a number one wide receiver that can bully Deontay Banks. Yeah, man, Chase is nice. Like another LSU wide receiver, just like Neighbors, number one. Like he wants the ball, he wants to win. The Bengals don't have a good record right now, and they actually have to have this game. So let's get into that real quick before we get everybody out of here. First, let's talk about before we get to the Bengals real quick. I forgot. Let's talk about the elephant in the stadium. A lot of fans now think that Daniel Jones do not need to be replaced. Like I wonder what like people in the chat. Let me know what you think about Daniel Jones right now because look at the past four games. Past four games, 92 of 136, over 67%, almost 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception at a 99.3 passer rating. Like when you don't think about what happened in the past, when you have a quarterback that put up those type of numbers, logically, you would think that he shouldn't be replaced, right? Personally, I think that's completely wrong. I still think Daniel Jones needs to be replaced. I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback. I'm just saying he's not the type of quarterback that I think that could make a leap with this team going forward. Like I think a lot of the play calling, Brian Dable is kind of handcuffed with what he can do. The red zone has a kind of proof of that. Yes, we did beat Seattle in Seattle, 29 points, but one of those was a block field goal by Isaiah Simmons, which was an awesome play. Probably won the game for us. But without that play, Seattle could kick that field goal, tie it up. And just like in old Giants fashion, that we could have lost that game because of that. So Daniel Jones, yes, he played a very good game. Played an excellent game, I should say. Passing rating through the roof. That doesn't mean that he should be the quarterback going forward, though. Sorry to say. Like I think I think his successor would be on the roster. Well, yes, his successor would be on the roster, but I should say that doesn't necessarily mean Daniel Jones won't be on the roster next year, though. Like they could go two ways. Well, they can go three ways, actually. The first way, keep Daniel Jones. No harm, no foul. Forget everything that happened in the past. He go on to year 7. And he's our quarterback for the future moving forward for at least the next year and the year after that, maybe, especially if they extend them, right? 2, they could just get rid of him altogether, draft the quarterback, bring another veteran in, or maybe keep Drew Lock, who is a veteran quarterback. He was drafted the same year as Daniel Jones. Keep him in as a bridge. Drew Lock starts the first few games of the season, depending on how that go. Then the rookie quarterback comes in, especially if we draft one in the first round, which I believe that we are. Or you could keep Daniel Jones, get rid of Drew Lock, because you don't need him as a third quarterback. He's almost too good to be a third quarterback. Keep Daniel Jones and make him the bridge for the young guy coming in. I'm pretty sure Daniel Jones wouldn't want to do that. I'm pretty sure he thinks that this is his team. This is his 6th year here. But, stuff like that happens in the NFL all the time. So those are the 3 things that we can do. I think that we are going to replace him. My thing is, I'm not sure that we'll replace him with him still here or not, though. They might use him as a bridge. And if they do that, I don't know how the fans will think. Like, to me, it seemed like you should just, cut it off. Like, cut it off cold turkey. You know what I'm saying? Just rip the Band-Aid off, and Daniel Jones is no longer here, and we have not no choice, but we need to look for our future quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Long as Daniel Jones is here, if he's the bridge, say if he starts playing well in the first half of the season, do you still just, put the rookie in that you just drafted in the first round to take his place for no reason? Like it kind of happened that way when we drafted Eli Manning. Like we used Kurt Warner as a bridge for him, but not luckily for us because we weren't a good football team at the time. But Kurt Warner didn't play well. Like we didn't really have the pieces around him to play well anyway. But he didn't play well. Eli ended up starting after a few games his rookie year, and the rest is history. The same thing could happen with Daniel Jones, but with Kurt Warner here, he wasn't here that long when Eli came in. Like, it was somebody that we pretty much got for a rookie quarterback for him to be the bridge. This time we drafted a franchise quarterback. It's kind of hard to use your franchise quarterback as a bridge. Usually teams will bring in a vet to be that person. So if that's Drew Lock or somebody else, we'll see. But they have a real dilemma on their hands, especially the way the fans talk about Daniel Jones. Like, Daniel Jones still has a lot of supporters out there, even though I might not be one of them, or some of us might not be one of them in the chat, but he does have a lot of supporters. To me, especially going off how Twitter is reacting or how Facebook is reacting, or I see some people on YouTube and stuff like that. Not saying it's 50-50, but it's like 60-40 for in favor of him leaving. So that 40% that wants to keep him, that's a big number for a quarterback that shouldn't be on your football team anymore. But so we'll see. I think he should be replaced, but that remains to be seen. I don't make the decisions. We'll see how that goes. Now, the New York Giants are now 2-3. Like, our offensive numbers haven't really jumped up that much. Our yards have. We got a nice little sample size now that we went through 5 games. Still 27. We don't score that many points. But 20th in yards, we're coming up. We was in the mid-20s, late 20s for the past few weeks. But the last couple games, Daniel Jones has done a really good job. And Tyrone Tracy getting a lot of those yards on the ground meant a lot too this past week. Our defense is almost top 10 in the league now. Like I said, we lead the league in sacks. Teams still get yards on us, and teams still scoring us. Obviously, we're in 11th place, but that's pretty good, especially with the type of defensive backfield we have. We have a second year number 1 corner. Our starting safety is a rookie. Our starting nickelback is a rookie too. So yeah, like, you can't really complain about the defense so far. To me, I wish our edge rushers did a better job at pressures, because like a lot of it starts with Dexter Lawrence. Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau still need to do a better job for going forward. Like, we got a lot of sacks, but a lot of those sacks came in those 2 games, like I said earlier. Like, they could have did a better job with Seattle. Like, a lot of our pressure came from Dexter Lawrence and DJ Davis and Elijah Chapman. Like, the middle of our defense is running our defense right now. We just need the edges to keep up with them. Our edges, like Burns and Kayvon, they don't have to be all world. They don't have to be Pro Bowl caliber, but they need to be above average, especially with the type of money that Burns is making, and especially with the type of draft capital we used on Kayvon Thibodeau. But we'll see how that goes. The Bengals are 1-4. This is a must-win game for them. Very, very good offense. Joe Burrow, Chase. Their running back. They're starting running back is Zach Moss, but they got Chad Brown, a rookie that I really like, out of Illinois. One of the running backs that I actually thought that we was going to draft in like the mid-round. He ended up going to the Bengals. Of course, we got Tyrone Tracy in the 5th. But yeah, he's a pretty good running back as well. Gesicki is at tight end. Obviously, T. Higgins is at the other wide receiver. Like, they got a pretty good offense, as you can see. They're 4th in the league in scoring. And they top 10 in yards. But their defense may be the reason we can squeak this game out, man. Their defense is the 2nd worst defense in the league when it comes to points, and 26 in yards. So we really don't have any excuses, especially with Daniel Jones in the running game, man. As long as our offensive line can keep the running game going. Tyrone Tracy can still run. Singletary, hopefully he comes back and we can use them as a tandem. But, hopefully we can run the ball again. To me, Daniel Jones' success is predicated on running the ball. I don't think he can I don't think he's the type of quarterback that could just win games for you week in and week out. I'm not saying that he can't do it at all, but he's almost more like a game manager than a game winner at this point. And for that, we need the running game. What's a better team to do that on than the Bengals, man? It seems like everybody is scoring on them. So the game is that we have the Sunday night game. So be prepared for that. We are going to be the only game on. Another nationally televised game for us is going to be at home. And like I said before, Daniel Jones does not play good at home. Not only does he not play good at home, he doesn't play good on prime time games either. Like he has a terrible record in prime time. But we shall see. I actually think we can win this game. They're 1-4 for a reason. Very good offense. Their defense can't stop a nosebleed. So hopefully neighbors get back, Singletary get back. We'll be at full throttle, and we can get this win, man. So if we get this win, we'll see. We'll be 500, and we take it from there. So let me salute everybody to the chat in the chat till we get out, so we can get out of here. Yeah, man. Dwayne, Wonder Woman, Life with Dens. Salute to everybody. Y'all have a good night, and have a stress-free week. Don't worry about the Bengals game, man. Just enjoy your Sunday. We get to watch all the games until the varsity game starts at 8:20 on NBC. And everybody have a good night, man. Trying to think. Queens Court. Steph isn't here, obviously. Queens Court. I don't think it might not happen this week. We have a couple people on the panel that's actually on vacation. The Knicks actually play on Wednesday, so it definitely won't be tomorrow. And Thursday is up in the air, so we'll see. But if not, if I don't see you on Thursday or Wednesday or Friday, whenever we usually do Dope Soul, I'll check y'all out next Tuesday and enjoy the game. Peace.